all things Halloween. This is Hauntformer, and if you remember, in my previous video, we talked all about the new, kinda new, Spirit Halloween animatronics that I missed talking about. And in a similar light, I also have some kinda new, I was about to say animatronics, but they're not animatronics, they're technically static props from our very kind, very awesome friends over at Distortions Unlimited. Distortions may very well be my favorite Halloween prop manufacturer, and for good reason. I think they're quickly growing in the amateur market. Like, Distortions has been around for a long, long time, starting with masks, moving to props, but a lot of their Frightronics and animatronics were for a more professional caliber. But now, over the last, I don't know, maybe 8 or so years, Distortions has been making some really nice, affordable props for your front backyard, haunted house, whatever you want to call it, and they're awesome. And despite them being more affordable, they still have that seal of Distortions quality. So far, this year, there have been 3 official announcements of new animatronics / props from Distortions. And I was going to wait. I told myself, you know what, I'm going to wait until they're all out on the table, and then I'll talk about them. But one dropped in particular, you know what it is, and I had to get a video out about it. But I'm going to start with the 2 that I missed, so here we go. So much like our friend the Mutant from a few years back, the animatronic that then became this static prop, the Scarewolf is now a static feature at Distortions Unlimited. For those of you who don't remember the Scarewolf, it was a fantastic animatronic from Distortions, one that thrashed wildly, very similar to the Mutant, might I add. But this was, of course, this awesome, gnarly werewolf. And as soon as I saw it, I thought Distortions has to make this a static. This has to be an option. And lo and behold, they delivered. Now, there isn't too much to say in terms of the visuals, because we've seen it before. This is just the Scarewolf repackaged statically. But if I didn't talk about the Scarewolf before, then what I will say is it's frickin' awesome looking. I mean, look at that sculpt. It's fantastic. Now, I suppose it's a bit limited in terms of posability, because really the sculpt is made for the hands above the head approach, not so much this. But really, why would you use it any other way, to be completely frank with you? I think this is an awesome werewolf, maybe one of the scariest and yet coolest that I've seen on the market. And retailing around somewhere, I think it's like $650 maybe, I think is a very good price for what you're getting for this Distortions character. I love the Scarewolf. Do I have a use for it? Not yet, but werewolves are quite possibly one of my favorite monsters, and so this is one I'm going to be eyeing for quite some time. Our next spooky monster on the list is the Wicked Witch. Now, I've said many times before, I'm not crazy about witches, and I will tell you this, I've slightly improved my opinion on these characters. I think they are very classic Halloween monsters. I think they deserve a spot at the table, so to speak. It's just not my favorite monster of the bunch. That said, this witch is perhaps the quintessential Halloween witch. Like, you can't get more saturatedly Halloween than this gal. Very creepy, very eerie. Of course, a great sculpt by Jordu Shell. Fantastic artist. There's really nothing I can complain about when it comes to the facial details and everything. The hat's removable, which is very nice if you want more of a green hag as opposed to a classic witch. You can tell the inspiration from the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz is right there. But that kind of variation of the long-nosed, old hag type of character has been around since, I don't know, probably the 1940s or 50s. So it's really incredible to see this kind of witch character return. Not maybe something I need. I probably would prefer the Pumpkin Witch from last year. But that said, I think this is a really good character, and Distortions nailed the details. And finally, the one I've been wanting to talk about this whole video. I mean, those were awesome. I love the Scarewolf. The Witch is very cool, but let's be honest, I'm hauntformer. You kind of know the things that I love at this point. The alien spider. Woo! I just rewatched The Thing, actually, because it's the winter time, of course. And it's one of my favorite horror movies, and probably the best alien horror movie out there, and clearly you can see the inspiration here. Now, Distortions has done spider variants for the past several years, most notably their jack-o'-lantern spider, which I think was a really popular pick a few years ago. But in my opinion, for what it's worth, this spider blows it out of the water. I think this is probably their best spider to date. It's so gnarly looking and weird. I love it. Now, my only slight criticism, and this is more of a personal preference than anything wrong with their prop, is I prefer bugs to look buggish. And this guy kind of has a human-looking face going on. But then again, it's an alien, so I understand it. But to me, a huge advocate for bug props, I really like the insect-like features, which this guy still does have. He's got, of course, the eyes going down the sides of his face, the long legs, and my favorite feature is that, is it the abdomen or thorax? His butt, the thing on his butt, is a brain. Absolutely gnarly. There are two things I love in Halloween land, and it's aliens and bugs. Like, yeah. I really love this guy. Considering purchasing him soon, he's on sale right now. They kind of go on sale at first, and then they raise back to their normal price. So it's like an early bird special, if you will. But part of me also wants to hold back, see what other tricks and treats Distortions has for us, and then decide which ones I'm going to get. But the alien spider so far is at the top of my list for 2024. There you go. The new Distortion stuff. Absolutely love it. Ed, Marsha, the whole gang, keep knocking it out of the park. I'm looking forward to seeing other props, not just from Distortions, but as this month and season continues, as we get to Trans World, super excited to see the offerings. With that said, I'll catch you in the next one, and remember, for all things Halloween, this is hauntformer.